No, it's been 2 years, almost 2 years now, since I've been on the road. And truth is, I learn so many things every day. I live all these amazing adventures, and I do want to share them with you. I really want to. My friends, my family, all those followers that have been following my footprints in the clouds. But it is difficult. It is difficult. And I've always said I never want to be a blogger that travels. I'm a traveler that eventually vlogs, not very often. But it is difficult. So bear with me. I'm sorry. And so that's why, a few friends told me, why don't you vlog? Why don't you just do a video? It's just so much easier. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. I'll give it a try someday. And I decided, no, well, I really needed to give it a try. So let's see how it goes. Let's see if it works better, if it's easier or not. Because I do really have so many things I want to tell you. And just don't have the time to sit down and actually write about them. Because, or I'm outside, living those adventures and learning, or I'm inside sharing them with you. So I'm going to try to do both. One of the main reasons why I travel is to improve as a person, is to learn, is to understand new things, you know, um, to open my mind. And funnily enough, there's this question that we always ask to each other. I mean, I'm talking about the travelers, long-time travelers, which countries do you like the most, and the ones that are the biggest surprises. And a few times, actually, quite rather few times, people say their favorite country was Iran, and I'll be like, what? Iran? Why? What's you know what's the thing about Iran? And I'm telling you this because for the last couple of weeks, no more than that, everyone has been talking about Iran, right? Because of the sanctions and what Obama's doing, etc., etc. And sometimes I end up like reading the comments on Facebook or on the news or whatever, and I'm getting so upset. I'm getting so frustrated about the perception of people about Iran and what people think about Iran. Now, I get it. I get it. I've been there myself, right? But now because I actually went I traveled to the country. I spent a few weeks there. That was what, a month ago? No more. That was probably a couple of months ago. I was in Iran, and I spent almost a month there, and I've learned so much about their country and about their people that I need to share. I need to tell because I've been there. I can tell. Most people just talk about what they're based on what they see on Fox News, which is not really news, by the way. So I just feel like it's I have to do this, and my friends have been asking, my family have been asking, you have been asking me. So time to tell you about Iran, right now. I'm gonna try to make this as brief as possible, but as you can imagine, I'm talking about 1 month of experiences and stories and amazing achievements that I had there, and try to make it in a quite short video. So it might not be easy. So what I decided to do is to make it easier, to make it clear. I did it by top fives. No, five, not 10. Top five. So I created this top five. So I'm gonna share with you. Okay, what is my top fives about Iran? Now, top five, the best things about Iran. Okay, number one thing about Iran, and I have to actually read something for you. Hold on. I'm sure you all know about Lonely Planet. Now, according to Lonely Planet, okay, the top experiences to do in Iran, or about Iran, it says number one, and I'll put this for you: meet the people. From watching the TV, you could be forgiven for thinking Iranians are scary, American-hating fundamentalists bent on destroying the world. Nothing could be further from the truth. Indeed, it's the people that leave the most lasting impressions from any journey in Iran. You will regularly be asked, what do you think of Iran? And be both tea and food with intonations that you are our guest. The people are, quite simply, the best experience in Iran. This is what Lonely Planet says, and I couldn't agree anymore. Okay, now I've been in many places. I got to know amazing cultures and very hospitality people, but Iranians take it to another level. They're just so amazing. I cannot even tell you. I could speak like 5 hours now about how amazing, about the incredible experience I had with the people, with the Iranians, right? Well, I can do that. You're not gonna watch it, right? So I'm not gonna do it. But definitely, the people are the best about Iran, and trust me, I have a lot of lonely planets, and this is the only lonely planet. This is the only country, Iran, that Lonely Planet puts the people in number one, at least by far the ones that I've had. And it is true. It is true. I mean, I have so many stories. Okay, I can start by telling you, okay, that even taxi drivers are nice. Now, you probably know that I always get in trouble with taxi drivers. I get in fights, I go to the police station, blah, 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 because they always try to take the piece, they always try to take your money, like, way too much. And even the taxi drivers are very nice. I had situations that the taxi driver didn't want to even to charge me. It's like, oh, no, no, well, you're so nice, I cannot charge you. I'm like, are you crazy? This is a business. Of course you have to charge me. Oh, so I swear to God that happened a few times, not one or two. They actually have people, the taxi drivers didn't want to charge me because I was nice. I'm like, no, this is a business. Of course you're gonna charge me. That never happened anywhere else before. Okay. There's another story I have to tell you, and I'm gonna try to make it quick. So just for you to see how wonderful they are. I was in the city, and I had to get this train to another city, which was the only way to get there was actually by train, because by car or by bus or and it was a long journey. It was like, roughly 7 hours on a train, so it will be like more than 10 hours on a car. Anyway, it was really difficult, and I had to make that trip. I had to take that train, but to get a train ticket, because in Iran things are very different, I actually had to go to an agency to get the ticket. And my friend told me, like, oh, don't worry, you just go in the day and you get the ticket. I'm like, sure. I was like, yeah. Actually, when I got there, so the train was at 10, I got there at 8. I said, oh, it's fully booked, it's sold out. I'm like, what? I have to go. It's like, oh no, you have to wait for tomorrow. I'm like, no, I have to go today. It's like, I'll pay extra, I'll go, I stand, I don't care, I really need to get on that train. Anyway, cutting the story short, I was like, no, I'm not gonna give up. I'm just gonna go to the station and hope that someone lets me in. I mean, the train stops for a couple of minutes, maybe less. I'll just have 2 minutes or less to convince, whoever, the driver, the captain, whoever. I need to convince them to let me in. Train was delayed, so by almost 12 the train came, right? And it was just so easy, because I know it's like, yeah, come on in, like, we'll find a way for you, we'll find a way. I swear to God, not only they put me there with this was with the captain, actually, the captain of the train. We sat there with them, we spent the whole time talking, sharing experiences. They would tell me about their countries, they would want to know about Portugal. It was just wonderful. They gave me a lot of food, they gave me a lot of drinks, hot drinks, water, and at the end, they didn't even want me to pay. They was like, no, that's okay, don't you worry, and I'm like, wow, that would never happen in a Western country. That would never happen. But instead, it did happen there. Anyway, my point is, people really are wonderful, okay? Second thing, the best thing about Iran, okay, is by far the hospitality, which is connected with the people, okay? So it's still people, but the hospitality that I felt there is just, I don't know, like, I've been well received in many countries, but by Iran, it was just another level again. But I have to say that I was very lucky to use couch surfing and stay with the people, actually get to know the people, live with the people, stay in their houses, get to know their families. And I cannot tell you how, I mean, every night I actually end up doing couch surfing. And the way they received me, it was like I was family. Now, I have to tell you, everyone treated me really, really nice. Everyone treated me amazingly. But there's one family, okay? There's one family that took it to another level, okay? So Salamat, this amazing, wonderful family where I was supposed to stay for 3 days, I ended up staying for over a week, okay? They just wouldn't let me go. And to be fair, I didn't want to leave either. But they took it to another level. First thing they did was like, okay, they invited me to go to a wedding. So the lady's brother wedding. And this was like on the first contact, like when I request recommendation, like, yeah, sure, of course, but don't you want to come earlier and go to this wedding, family wedding, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, that's the best way to get to actually to understand the people and to get the culture. So I end up going to this wedding, see how the Iranians really live, how they really are, closed doors. And then pretty much every day while I was there, they would invite me to family gatherings. So on the lady's side or the husband's side, every day I would be getting to know their families and having such a great time. And they were so funny, so kind. They would always cook extra, special food for me because I'm vegetarian. So, I mean, honestly, they were the best people ever, and obviously they were Iranian. I cannot tell you how hospitality they are. They just invite you to their houses, and even when they don't even know your name, and they really, really are kind. Another thing is amazing about Iran, and I have to say, is actually safety. I know you would be like, what? Iran safe? I'm like, yes, absolutely safe. I spent quite a long time there, right? And I really, really felt that it doesn't matter if it's 9 a.m. or if it's 11 p.m., where you are, you feel safe. You feel like you're okay. You feel like no one is gonna, hurt you or touch you, or which is not quite normal in the Middle East, because in the Middle East I always feel like kind of arrested, and then kind of like, oh, always I have to look all around. I didn't feel that way in Iran. I felt really safe. So I have to make it sure that you believe me that it really is a very safe country. I'm not gonna say it's like Japan, where you can just leave your iPhone in Starbucks, go to the toilet, come outside, and it's still there. But it is really safe. Another thing is really amazing about Iran. Okay, number 4, I would say it's so cheap. It's really, really cheap. I have to say, I hardly spend any money. Okay, people wouldn't let me spend any money because they would always invite me to the things and to eat and to whatever. Like, so I hardly spend any money. But as the overall, the country is very cheap as well. Another amazing thing, I would say, the 5th best thing about Iran for me was diversity. How diverse the country is. You have the snow in the north. You have desert. Then you have like all the coast, you have jungles and forests. It's just so different. So whatever you are into, if you go to Iran, you're probably gonna get it. It's really a wonderful, beautiful country. The nature is just amazing. Okay, so this is my top 5 for Iran. Okay, now for places, my top 5 places. I didn't go to many because I just tried to go to a few and actually try to understand them. Plus, the family, like I said, they wouldn't let me leave, which was great. I would say, Isfahan, okay, Yazd, beautiful, beautiful place. Shiraz, Persepolis, Tehran, obviously the capital, and I really like Kashan as well. So those are the places that I prefer. But I've been to other little places around, but those are the top places for me. Now, fun facts. My top 5 fun facts. I'm trying to just say everything in one go. Okay, really funny thing, right? And that was, when you're in a new place, in a new country, and you have this moment of, what? What was this? What is this crazy? And I have a lot of moments like that in Iran. First thing I have to tell you, do you know, it's actually like, so actually I'll tell you the story. So Ali, so the one of the gentlemen from the family that I told you they were amazing, he got me the bus ticket to go to Isfahan, where he lives, and he sent me the ticket over text message. And when I was checking the ticket, I was like, oh, I think there's an issue here because the date is wrong. It's like a few centuries back. And I mean literally centuries back. It's like, no, my dear, this is not an issue. This is a Persian calendar. So actually in Iran right now is 1394. So they are like almost 800 years behind us. Which is so strange. But no, this is just Western culture. We assume everyone is 2015. Guess what? No, they are actually 1394, and I found that it was hilarious. Oh no. So another thing great about and really funny about Iran is a lot of people do nose jobs. Okay. Now thing is, yeah, people do nose jobs everywhere, but in Iran, it's just funny because like in the West, if you're gonna do a nose job, you usually go on a medical holiday, and you hide yourself until your nose is where you want it to be. While in Iran, no, everyone walks around with that kind of plaster stick or whatever that is, very proudly. It's like a big thing, like, oh, I just had the nose job. And now they take it to another level because I've been told that some people actually, even though they didn't have any nose job, they still wear the plaster. Really, I don't. How crazy is that? But apparently, it's a good thing to do a nose job in Iran, so they just do it and they just very proudly, show it around. So I've seen it so many times. It doesn't matter who you are, like, working on a supermarket, cashier, whatever. Like, everyone was having like the nose job thing, and I was like, wow, this is a fun fact. This is a fun fact for you. Okay. Another funny thing, people ask you, well, not to me because I couldn't use my credit card though, but the people ask credit card code. So if you go to a restaurant and you want to pay with your credit card, you just tell the waiter your code. And I'm like, what? This is so strange. Yeah, this is that comes for you to see how safe it actually is. People tell each other their credit cards, codes, numbers. Here we go. That's Iran. Another thing, it was very funny. And this just shows how, and this is one of those things that happens a few times. It makes you understand like how small the world is. So I was in the city in Shiraz, and I was looking for a post office, and people didn't really speak very good English where I was. And this gentleman just came to me, do you need any help? As they do, because they're always trying to help you. And I said, yeah, please, I'm looking for a post office. Like, okay, there's one there, I'll take you there. And then obviously we start talking and sharing ideas. And when he asked me where I was from, I said I was Portuguese. He's like, oh, I have a Portuguese friend. I know this Portuguese guy. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. And we were just 10 million inside the country, another 8 million outside. But and somehow I wanted to know more about this guy because I actually have two friends. Two guys I don't know in Portugal. They're two Portuguese friends. They actually go to Iran quite often. And I say, oh, okay, so what's his name? It's like, is by any chance it's Filipe Morato or Rafael Polanyi? And he's like, yes, Filipe Morato. I'm like, shut up. And he was, so, and then we took pictures, sent it to Philip. So this guy, actually, this guy actually knew my friend back home. And I'm like, how random is that? It's like, I just found the story really funny. Like how, if Philippe told me to go and meet him, probably would never meet him. But because we met randomly on the street, then we realized we actually have a friend in common because Philippe goes quite often to Iran. He loves Iran. He does tours there. So he actually knew this guy. So how amazing was that? Yeah, friends. That's the guy. Another thing I found it funny, which was quite refreshing in a way, because the last 2 years I've been in Asia. Wherever I go, I always kind of feel like I'm Lady Gaga. What I mean is, I always have like this thing where people look at me strangely, like, oh, she's different, and I always feel like I always stand out because I look different. But in Iran, that didn't happen. Actually, the other way around. People thought I was a local. People really thought I was Iranian. And often people come to me and speak in Farsi with me. And I'm like, no, I'm not Iranian. Like, yes, you are. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm Portuguese. Apparently, I look very Iranian, which for me, it was very quite, how can I say this without sound horrible? But people that are very pretty. Ladies are very beautiful. No, I sound horrible. Like, oh, look at me. Oh, I look Iranian, and ladies are pretty. But no, it is true. To be fair, they're very, very beautiful. And I realize that they could look Portuguese as well, because especially the kids. I was always looking at the kids like, oh, they look like my little cousins. So that was very funny for me. How I've heard that before. People telling me that I look Persian or I look Arab, and I was like, what? No. But being there and having like everyone talking to me in Farsi and everyone assuming I was local, it was really just funny, especially after all this time in Japan, Korea, China, and Thailand, and etc., where I kind of stand out. So that was funny. So those are my top 5 when it comes to fun facts. Now I'm going to tell what you also want to hear, which is the bad parts. Of course there's bad parts. There's bad parts everywhere. Everywhere in the world there's bad things and good things. So even though Iran is by far better things. So I would say the worst thing about Iran for me, especially as a woman, was to have to cover myself up completely. No skin, no hair. Well, I could show my face, but that was about it. Okay. And that for me, it was upsetting. It was upsetting. I cannot tell you that I get it, because I don't. I have to respect, I have no choice, and I did. But that was by far the worst thing. By the conversations I had with women there, because obviously you want to know, you want to understand how people feel about it, really feel about it. And yeah, they're not happy. They don't like it. But I believe it's going to change soon. very soon. I wouldn't say like tomorrow, but soon. Things will change. Definitely will. Okay. Another thing I really disliked. You're not supposed to sing or dance publicly, like publicly. Oh God, I cannot talk. In the public, so you just cannot do it. Especially as a woman, you cannot sing. And now I sing everywhere. I never stop singing. I'm always singing. So that was difficult to actually to try to behave and not singing. But I find it quite sad that they have that rule. I don't know if it's the government. I don't know if it's the church, the religious, the grand leader. I don't know. I just know that I didn't like that at all. It's just for women. Men can also, they cannot dance, but still the singing thing, women cannot sing in public. Another thing that is annoying, but this I think all this is obviously is sanctions. Okay, because of the sanctions, there's so many things. Well, now it's gonna change. I don't know exactly which extent it's gonna change and when and how, but it's good it's gonna change because, like, for example, if you just used to go to Booking.com or to Airbnb, whatever, and book a place, or you just can't, you just can't do any of that because the sanctions wouldn't allow now. So I'm very curious to know how things are gonna change now after these new laws. Also, another thing that is annoying is if you go to Iran, you gotta bring money, cash with you, because your card is not gonna work anywhere. Okay, so if you go to Iran, I don't know if after the sanctions things is gonna change, but still probably gonna take a while. So you just have to have cash, which is kind of annoying because it's like I don't like to carry cash, so I had to make sure that I had enough dollars to bring with me. Another thing is usually annoying. For me, it wasn't, but for many people it is. And once again, I don't know how it's going to change after the sanctions because, as you can see, most of the things is because of the sanctions. It is to get a visa to actually visit the country. Now, I got my visa in less than 24 hours. In like 20 hours, actually, I got my visa. Okay, so it was easy for me, but I'm Portuguese. But if you're American, if you're English, if you're Canadian, and a few other places, you're going to have a hard time to get a visa, and you cannot just freely go to the country. Now, once again, after the sanctions, hopefully things will change, and I'm sure they will. So you probably be able. I cannot tell that, but hopefully will, because it's a beautiful country, and everyone should be allowed to visit. So those are my 5 worst things about Iran. But just to finish, because I need to just do an overall. Iran is not what you think it is. If you watching the Fox News or if you reading the stupid comments on Facebook by people that have no idea and they just assume things that are completely not true. I have to say that I found a country that was extremely advanced, actually, very advanced. I find the people extraordinarily intelligent. You can have a conversation about anything with people. They're very open-minded. They're very knowledgeable. They are very interesting. They really are. I mean, I can give you an example, like Beru, which was the 14-year-old teenager of that beautiful, amazing family that I stay with in Isfahan, Salamat. So she speaks a fluent English. Her English is flawless. Her English is amazing, right? Obviously, her language is Farsi, but she speaks fluent Arab. But this girl, right, the 14-year-old girl, she is in love with the South Korean culture, right? So she learned how to speak South Korean. She actually speaks South Korean. She's 14. South Korean is cool. I mean, Farsi is already very different from English and from Arab. She speaks South Korean, but this is like, people are quite clever there. So don't assume people are backwards, because they're not. They're really not. Yeah, I didn't mean to everyone, obviously, but the people that I interact with, and people that I would meet randomly in the street, they were extremely intelligent, extremely interesting people. So they are not the people that most people assume they are. Okay, and to finish, I have to say they absolutely love America and Europe. They love the Western culture. I don't get it. Why people say they hate America? They want to destroy the world. That's exactly the opposite that I've seen. Okay, and once again, I didn't meet everyone, but like people really welcomed me. After knowing that, even after knowing I wasn't a local, they will be very excited about being from Portugal, and they love Portugal there because of the coach, the football coach there is Portuguese guy, so the national football coach is a Portuguese guy that they seem like is a bit of a god. So I was really well treated, but they love America. They love the Western world. They love the music, the movies. They just like the no. They're just so in love with the culture. They are definitely not haters and they want to kill people. Absolutely not. That's so not true. They're by far one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. So yes, I hope with this long video I managed to tell you a bit more about Iran. It's absolutely beautiful country, and that I think for the pictures speak for themselves. I mean, I post a lot of pictures as I go. And usually I post pictures every day of the things that I see, the most special moments of the day. But then later on, I do add some proper albums where pictures from different cities, from different areas of the country, and I'll be posting them in the next couple of weeks, I would say. But keep an eye on them because the country is absolutely stunning, and I strongly advise everyone, if you have to go somewhere, please put Iran in the top 5 of your list because it's deserves it. I've been to 50 countries now. 50, so I kind of have some experience, right? And I seriously think Iran is just a beautiful, wonderful country there. There's so much to see, so much to explore, and it's by far one of my favorite countries. So I hope you enjoy it. Bye bye.